been traveled through many elite places. I went from the Buckingham Palace to under the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, still under the custody of Child Protective Services, the child welfare system. And everybody is so worried about the elite, and we could give those names of Barack Obama, Joe Biden. I was trafficked to people within my schools. I was trafficked in underground tunnels that link under your schools, through your cemeteries, under your amusement parks, through Universal Studios, and into Hollywood elite homes, all over the place.
In containers with his shipment of there were kids in there that didn't speak English. There were kids that were sick and that were already dying. There were babies that were 6 years old, and I'll never forget them just crying, and everybody was just staring at them. Everybody was just staring at each other. Nobody knew whether or not to move.
Talking about the victims that are still going through the right now with other people who are running to cover and deleting their social medias. Pink, Megan Fox, Tyra Banks, Steve Harvey.
People take pride in sticking bars up children. I don't think people are going to be able to stomach the fact that people tie 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds to horse stables and have horses and dogs with them, and then they get off on that. I don't think people are going to be able to stomach the fact that people hang upside down in satanic ritual meetings, and they literally hang them. Literally, by metal prongs, they hang them to get dripping out of them, and people go up under and like you're under a rainfall to take their
us. And I remember it because when
Pig
you
night.
have to do
Say what?
orders, jobs like that, you don't eat. You're not allowed to eat. You actually have to starve yourself, because when you have to do those type of jobs, you can't eat because you will throw up.
Really?
If you are doing, or if you are a guy doing it, you will shit everywhere. You get pressured, attacked, stalked, and hunted down for your own information. You get abused and re-victimized again by people who wanted to argue a back and forth this week like that fucking mattered. Okay, you had Stu Peters and Timothy Charles Homestead going back and forth, and nobody has even bothered. Not that I give a damn, and not that I understand that you guys are gonna be that selfish, but nobody has bothered to apologize for all the hell that has happened. But you guys were arguing back and forth, and in that meantime, we lost our home. You don't believe me? Here you go. What once was a full house, we were still paying rent on our house. What we were doing this whole time was moving everything, because our house is gone. Our house is gone. This is the speaking out. What was our beautiful 3-bedroom acre home on 21225 Standing Rock Avenue, because everybody has the address, because organizations that were attached to Marx, Sawyer, and many other organizations decided to put out the address, my license plate to one of my cars, and many other of my. So here you go. You can have it, right? Because this is what happens when you speak out. This is what happens when you tell all the truth. This is what happens when you decided to stand up for the children, and when you understand that survivors don't just get to do a seminar, and when you understand that survivors don't just get to just be and then show up somewhere and talk and monetize everything that they're saying. When you realize that that's bullshit, then you will understand. Look at the tactics and pay attention. Pay attention. I'm still not asking you for a damn thing but to wake up. I'm not asking you for a damn thing but just to get outside. I don't give a damn about money, numbers on my platforms. You can have all of it. You took everything. The only thing that I give a shit about right now is the fact that there is a baby in the way. There's babies in the way. There are people that I love that I can't get out of the way. What am I supposed to do when the people in the authority that you're supposed to go to, you can't go to them?
Mirror.
Somebody asked Epstein, what do you think of the devil? And he said, look, I'm just going to say it.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself? I don't know. Why would you say that? Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. He is number 1 or 2 archangel. And the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven. I saw that in the movie.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. Yeah. But now, it's not necessary for us to store up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times. I'm still not going to join, but I respect it a little more.
Jay-Z and I signed to Rock Nation. The first thing he told me to do is get plastic surgery. I'm not insecure because I would have got plastic surgery. People make it, they all can turn around and thank Beyonce because that's it. And enough is enough. I'm coming for everyone now. And even Adele, when she gets an award, she thanks Beyonce. Oh, I didn't want to drip myself in and cover myself and swim in goop, in black goop, and fucking like wear devil horns to sell a record. Fuck that. Or be a witch, or be that, all of that.
What if the biggest secret in Hollywood isn't what's been exposed, but what people are still too afraid to believe? Because right now, a storm is building online, and it's pulling in some of the most powerful names in entertainment. We're talking about whispers of hidden networks, resurfaced allegations, and a story that refuses to stay buried. And just when people thought the Jeffrey Epstein scandal had revealed its worst, a new wave of claims is making people question everything all over again. The question is, why now? And why are so many familiar names suddenly being dragged back into the spotlight? It all reignited when Katt Williams once again stepped into the conversation, sending the internet into a frenzy. Known for calling out the industry in ways others won't, Katt didn't just speak. He echoed narratives that many thought had already been dismissed. And the timing couldn't be more suspicious. With renewed attention on Epstein-related documents and ongoing speculation about who was really involved, people are revisiting old interviews, old claims, and connecting dots that may or may not be there. Suddenly, conversations that were once pushed aside are trending again, and this time, they're reaching a much bigger audience. At the center of it all is Ally Carter, a name that's been floating around for years, but is now gaining a level of attention it's never seen before. Ally describes herself as a survivor who experienced deeply disturbing situations tied to powerful circles. Her story includes claims of being moved through hidden locations and encountering influential figures in environments most people can't even imagine. But here's the thing, her allegations have always been met with intense skepticism. For many, the details sounded too extreme, too unsettling, and too far removed from what people want to believe about celebrities they admire. And yet, despite the disbelief, the names she's mentioned are exactly what's keeping this story alive. We're talking about global icons like Beyonce, Jay-Z, and even respected figures like Denzel Washington being pulled into the conversation. Names that, for many, feel almost untouchable. It's important to be clear. None of these claims have been verified, and there is no confirmed evidence linking these individuals to the allegations being discussed. But in the world of viral content, the mere association is enough to spark curiosity, debate, and sometimes outrage. And that raises a bigger question. Why these names? Are they being unfairly dragged in? Or is there something people feel hasn't been fully explained? What's pushing this even further is Ally's insistence that she isn't just telling a story, she claims she is proof. According to her, there are documents, recorded statements, and materials that could potentially back up what she's been saying all along. At the same time, she's described facing serious consequences for speaking out, losing stability, dealing with harassment, and feeling like she's being silenced. Whether those claims hold up or not, they add another layer of tension to an already explosive situation. Because if something like this were ever proven, it wouldn't just shake Hollywood. It would completely redefine how people see power, fame, and influence. And that's where the internet comes in, because right now, people are split. Some are saying stories like allies deserve to be heard, no matter how uncomfortable they are. Others argue that without solid, verified evidence, amplifying these claims could do real harm. It's the classic divide between belief and skepticism, but amplified by social media, where narratives spread faster than facts. Add to that the reality of parasocial relationships, where fans feel personally connected to celebrities. And you get a situation where people aren't just debating information, they're defending identities, reputations, and emotional investments. So now, we're left in this strange space where curiosity, doubt, and speculation are all colliding at once. A resurfaced voice, a controversial cosign from Katt Williams, and a public that can't decide whether to lean in or look away. Because if even a fraction of this turns out to be true, it changes everything. But if it's not, then it raises an entirely different question about how quickly narratives can spiral out of control. Either way, one thing is clear. This story isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And this is where things start to overlap in a way that has people really paying attention. Because when you go back and listen to what Katt Williams has been saying over the years, some viewers are noticing themes that sound familiar. Not identical, not confirmed, but similar enough to raise eyebrows. Katt has repeatedly talked about pressure inside the entertainment industry, about deals, expectations, and the idea that not everything behind the scenes is as glamorous as it looks on camera. He's hinted at consequences for those who refuse to play along. And while he's never laid out specific accusations the way others have, people are now revisiting those moments with a completely different perspective. Clips from past interviews are circulating again, with fans dissecting every word, trying to connect dots between what Katt described and what figures like Ally Carter have been claiming. It's not that the stories match perfectly, it's that they seem to exist in the same orbit. The idea of power structures, the suggestion of hidden dynamics, the repeated notion that speaking out comes at a cost. And once those ideas are planted, it becomes hard for people not to start looking for patterns. Even conversations from podcasts and stand-up routines are being re-examined, with audiences pointing out moments they previously dismissed as jokes or exaggerations. Now, those same lines are being treated like clues. And again, none of this confirms anything, but it does show how quickly perception can shift when multiple narratives start brushing up against each other. Some viewers believe this is exactly how bigger stories begin to surface, through fragments, through different voices saying pieces of the same thing over time. Others think it's a classic case of the internet connecting unrelated dots and building something that isn't actually there. But regardless of which side people fall on, the attention is growing and the conversation is getting louder. And then comes the part that has everyone on edge, the possibility that something bigger could be revealed soon. Because according to Ally, this isn't just talk. She's claimed more than once that there is material, documents, recordings, statements that could potentially support what she's been saying. And whether people believe her or not, that idea alone is enough to keep audiences locked in. Because if even a portion of that information were to become public, it wouldn't just trend for a day, it would dominate headlines everywhere. That's why there's this growing sense of anticipation online. People are watching closely, waiting to see if anything actually drops, or if this will fade like so many other viral stories before it. And the longer nothing definitive appears, the more the suspense builds. Is something being prepared behind the scenes? Or is this another moment where speculation outruns reality? Either way, the stakes feel higher now, because this isn't just about one person's story anymore. It's about a broader narrative that's pulling in celebrities, past scandals, and public trust all at once. And once that kind of momentum starts, it's hard to stop. So now the question shifts to you. After hearing all of this, after seeing the names, the resurfaced interviews, the reactions, and the growing speculation, what do you actually think is going on here? Is this a case of overlooked voices finally being heard? Or is this the internet building a story that's bigger than the facts? And if something does come out, will people be ready to accept it? Because one thing's for sure, this story feels like it's still unfolding. And if you think this is where it ends, the next piece of this puzzle might just change everything.